Alright, welcome back to Sunnyside Speed Shop. Back here chipping away on the El Camino. And I got up here to my mom's house to get going, and I found it falling off of the stands that I had it on. So I've already pushed the car forward. I was kind of like in panic mode when I got up here, thinking somebody was trying to steal parts off my car, because it is just in a backyard. And they pushed it off the stand accidentally. But apparently the back tires went flat, rolled off my stands, and it just obliterated my race ramp stands. Which really sucks because these things are expensive. They are not cheap. I don't know if a little bit of heat will fix these or if they're just screwed up forever now, but luckily there wasn't really any damage because it just fell on those rubber stands or whatever the hell those are made out of, foam or some NASA stuff. I don't know. Anyways, but today I'm going to be installing this drive shaft that I picked up. I hope it's the right length. I got it used off of a friend, and it kind of fit within the measurements that I had. So yeah, I'll be able to put this in, put the car in park, and I don't have to worry about it rolling around anymore. So yeah, let's get going on this thing. See what we can get done today. Let's see. We're going to install the drive shaft, button up some of the wiring, just some odds and ends. We'll get it rocking and rolling, and get after it. Alright, before I do anything, I need to get this thing up in the air and get this drive shaft installed so it doesn't roll off my stands again. I think I'm going to have to lift the front too. I was hoping to just have the back up. Well, let's see. Now, a guy at a driveline shop told me that these are only supposed to be torqued down to something like 30 foot-pounds, but everybody loves to go nuts and torque the hell out of these things because, you know, they're worried about it flying apart because, you know, with good reason. It's a driveline component. But he says when you over-torque them, you end up smashing the U-joint cap, and it basically makes it egg-shaped. It's not round anymore, and by doing that, you kind of smash the rollers inside, the needle bearings, and you'll get your drive shaft will prematurely fail as a result. So you don't want to go nuts on the torque on these things. All right, let's put this thing in park. And from experience of hooking up shift cables in the past, usually your shift lever deal goes straight down, and all the way forward is park. It's park, reverse, neutral, drive, 3, 2, 1, whatever. So now it's in park. Sweet. I don't have to worry about this thing rolling away, crashing into anything. This thing rolled off the stands and fell to the ground. I'm really, really lucky that it didn't crash through this fence and down that hill and then into that house. That would have sucked. It would have really sucked. But luckily it did not happen. And I still have a car, and I'm not in the middle of a lawsuit. So let's get this thing back on the ground, and let's get going on some wiring here. I would love to turn the key for you guys today and at least hear this thing crank. So let's see what I can do. All right, now I got the factory engine compartment wiring here that I'm just going to clean up and cut all the tape off. I get to delete the original alternator wiring, so I'm going to cut that out of here, clean all this up, and retape it. Remember, safety tip, whenever you're using a sharp razor blade, always cut against your leg. I'm always amazed at how clean the wires are when you cut off the tape. I mean, I shouldn't be, because it's been covered in tape for the past 50 years and protected, but I don't know, just something this old, I'm like, wow, these wires look brand new. So this right here is the horn relay, and this is the main junction point for power on most of these old cars. So power comes from the battery into the horn relay, and then from the horn relay to the alternator, to the fuse block, to power up the entire fuse block. You don't know how many times it's either been a car that I bought or helping a friend with his car or her car, and there's no power. It doesn't crank, it doesn't do anything, and it's always been this, where it's just like, well, yeah, you don't have any power going to your fuse block. Of course there's no power going into the car. So this is always the first thing I check whenever there's a zero power anywhere issue. You know, if you've already verified that the battery's good, start there. So there's my alternator wiring that I'm deleting. I just have one more wire that goes inside the car, and that's the one for the generator light that I don't need. Let me just cut that. I'm gonna cut it a little bit, leave it a little bit long, because maybe there's a way I can wire in the LS alternator to trigger that light. That would be cool. All right, that's good enough for now. See here, the horn relay, since it works as the main junction block that brings power into the car, it's kind of a perfect location for me to hook up the power from my LS fuse block right to there, and like that's it. I'm done. Powered up straight to the battery like it's supposed to be. So I just have to put a little terminal on that, hook that up, and I can jump my power from my fan relay off of here as well. Cool. Might as well crimp on a connector on that right now. One less thing. Alright, LS harness powered up. And on this side, this is the little junction block that brings power from the battery to the car. So I'm going to, I don't know where this mounts yet. I'm going to do a little bit of research, but for today's test purposes, I'm just going to wire that to the battery so that way I got power to the car, and we'll see if everything works as it should. Alright, we're inside the car here. Key is in the off position. Ground that. Nothing. There we go, 12 volts, boom. Nothing. Let's turn the key to on position. And now this one down here has 12 volts. This one up here that was dead before, still dead. This one up here, 14 volts. Well, my ground is getting a little wonky. Cool. Yeah, this one's still dead. It must be a blown fuse. Cool. Now I can check to see if my starter wire works here. I don't know which side it is. Test that. We can go around it. Click it to the crank position. There we go. 12 volts, 13 volts. It's hooked up to the charger, so it's kind of varying. Awesome. So now I can actually go hook up the starter and see if it cranks. Cool. I thought this starter was busted. I thought I was missing the stud, but apparently it takes a plug. It's still busted though, because I can't click this plug into anything, but I'll be able to see if it cranks. I just need to wire this up. Alright, let me strip a bunch off of this. Never put your tools down across the battery. I learned that a long time ago. Let's see, can I just wrap this and hope that, you know what? I gotta cut this off anyway. Let me just do a temporary connection on it. Temporary crimp. And then I'll shorten it later. Here. Okay, that's hooked up. All right, this is the wire that I need to jump for my neutral safety switch. Okay, neutral safety switch jumped. Let's see what happens here. Ooh. There's no spark plugs in it, so it's gonna spin pretty free, but man, that's awesome. One step closer. Cool, the motor cranks. Maybe while I'm under the hood here, I'll get this electric fan installed. I'm just gonna use those zip ties that go through the radiator to install it temporarily for now. Maybe I'll make a fan shroud later on. Look. But fan's mounted. Just use these zip ties. Come through the radiator and just zip down. Maybe in the future I'll build a fan shroud for this thing, see how well it cools. I've done this before and it's been fine. So we're gonna see again how well it works. Alright, I figured I might as well take care of the transmission cooler lines. I got this 5/16 nickel copper line, or NiCop. I love this stuff because just, look at that, I could just bend it by hand, super easy. Like, regular steel line is like impossible. Well, not impossible, but it sucks to bend. This stuff is super easy. And straighten it out here and put it through my tubing bender. This thing on Temu, 20 bucks. Okay. $56.5. With these things, you got to keep working it. You go like this, twist it like this, twist it like this, twist it like this, and then eventually it'll get super straight. Right? Not bad. I mean, better than it was. It's not perfect. Using my Eastwood tubing flaring tool. This thing's awesome. All right, let me show you guys how to use this thing. So first, you got the one that says 0 on it. That's your gauge to set this thing. So you can set the depth. So set that inside the die. Close that. I put just a little bit of tension on it. Got the line sticking out just a little bit here with a little bit of tension on this. And I just pull this until it's bottomed out. And now my depth is set. Crank this guy down. So it's nice and tight, doesn't move. And now we just look on the gauge here for 5/16 OP1 for the first flare. Boom, turn that to where the first flare is. Pull this. That's 1. Now we go to flare number 2 for 5/16 and 3/8. Pull the lever. It's done. Look at that. Easy. Love this thing. There's other brands of this out there. I just happened to buy the Eastwood one. This thing's awesome. I don't remember what it cost, but it's worth every penny. All right, got the 2 lines made. Now get back to the car, install them, bend them, install them, and see what happens. I'm gonna leave them straight for now. I don't know what angle they need to be at, and I do know I need to drop that transmission back down at least a little bit to get these in, so see what happens. All right, it's the next day. I'm determined I'm gonna get those transmission lines in. Let's get it going. So it's very, very tight clearance against the floor pan. Kind of need to snake it here between this governor and this transmission dipstick. Basically, I gotta drop this trans to be able to get to them. Not all the way. I'm just gonna pull the cross member, let it sag down so I can bend them and get them in there, and then go from there. I get to pull the drive shaft out that I just put in yesterday. So let's get going. Still very tight, but I can get my hand in there. If I get my hand in there, I can get a wrench in there. So let me see if I can bend up some lines, get them started. All right, I'm kind of just guessing here. It looks like the angle's gonna be a little less than a 90. So it's I don't know. What is that, like 85? Crawl underneath the car and see what happens. Alright, one of them's in. I don't know if that's going to clear the floor pan, but these things are really easy to bend by hand, so I might be able to just kind of pull it away once it's seated. I'll tighten it, and then I'll just give it a yank. And this stuff doesn't kink very easily either. That's good. Let me bend the other one in the same way. That's it. Now, you could just put AN fittings on the ends of this transmission and run a soft line, and it's so much easier. But I'm kind of looking for more of a factory look. I don't like the big bulky AN lines, big braided hoses. I'd rather have just nice 2 clean metal lines going straight to the transmission. Alright, got the lines made. I lifted the trans and tested to make sure they weren't hitting the floor pan. Had to make some adjustments, and now I need to get the rest of it figured out. But I think I'm actually going to cut it back here because I'm going to put a union with a rubber line to make my life easier. So I'll make 2 cuts, put little bubble flares in it, that way I can slip rubber line over it and continue it. So now I'll cut it here, I'll make the lines on the transmission side, and then we'll mate it up afterwards. Alright, 2 lines coming off the radiator. Go next to the pan. One's 90, one's a 245, is a little Z to get next to the pan. And now I get to start working on the other end. Still not done yet, so it'll get cleaner. Go ahead and cut this one. Alright. I gotta put a little flare on the end of this so that the rubber hose, when I put it on, doesn't come flying off. There's my 2 little bubble flares. So when I slide the hose over it and put a clamp on it, it won't come flying off under pressure. Alright, and now with that bubble flare, once I tighten this down, it won't be able to pass that. So under pressure, it won't blow the line off. that's it. Transmission line's done. Got all that wiring buttoned up yesterday. I'm going to leave the car up on the stands on the front because the next video we're installing this 2.5-inch stainless exhaust system from Pipes Exhaust. Put this in next week. This is a cross-member back system, so I'm gonna have to build the pipes from here forward, and that pipe is on order, so I can make it up. Hopefully it's not too hard. Right on, that's it. If you want to see that exhaust install, check out the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.